What's up, y'all? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing good. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. Any support that you give is truly appreciated, whether that's liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, whether that's going from this video to check out other videos on my channel, that is appreciated. But most of all, your time is appreciated. Thank you so much for giving me some of your time to check out this video. I really do appreciate it. Ryan Murphy's second season of Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Mendez story dropped. I haven't watched it yet, but from what I've seen, it hasn't generated the same buzz as Dahmer's Monster. There's still buzz there. There's still people talking about it. It's just not the same kind of fanatic buzz. More enough buzz for them to already greenlight season 3. They're going to have Charlie Hunnam star as Ed Gain. I'm maybe mispronouncing that. Not only did the Lyle and Eric Menendez story, but also this is causing quite a bit of buzz. This is causing quite a bit of controversy, similar to what Dahmer did. A lot of that is because people feel like Ryan Murphy is glamorizing, romanticizing, putting these people, these very, very bad people, on a pedestal that they shouldn't be put on. And I think there's some truth to that. At the same time, I also believe that some of this is necessary. I'm not going to say the way in which Ryan Murphy is doing it and the way in which he displays it, the way in which he shows it. He kind of beautifies it a little bit. I'm not going to say that that is necessary. Look at shows like True Detective and Mindhunter. I think Mindhunter is probably one of the best shows centered around this because they were able to build tension and to show tension, to show how horrible some of these people were without showing actual gruesome acts of violence. Look at the way in which they did BTK. We never saw BTK do anything in Mindhunters, but they were some of the most hair-raising, nerve-wracking, intense scenes in the entire show. But we never saw BTK actually do anything. Mindhunter displayed it in such a way that you didn't need the gruesome, the grotesque. Ryan Murphy uses it to push his stories. He romanticizes it. A lot of people feel like he's doing the same thing with the Eric and Lyle Menendez story. They feel like choosing Charlie Hunnam in the role is a way to kind of glamorize it. I do think that these stories are somewhat necessary. Not all the gruesome violence, but I think they're necessary. One thing that I believe that serials do is they display flaws within the system. You can look at Dahmer and what he did, what he was able to do. You can look at Gacy. It feels like they're building a cinematic universe around this, Ryan Murphy is, so they might do more stories. It is a touchy subject. It can be very triggering because they're victims of these people that are still alive. There are families of the victims that are still alive. There are people that are still seeking their own type of justice, so it very much has to be handled in a certain way. But I do think these stories are often necessary because they show the flaws. They show the way in which not only does the system allow people to exploit it, but the system is very flawed. One of the biggest examples of this to me, one of the people who I believe should have been a subject of a monster story, or there should be more light shined on him, not for what he did. He should not be romanticized, he should not be glamorized, but we should look at him to see the flaws. And that is Sam Little. Speaking of romanticizing and glamorizing, this is a little off subject, but it ties into it. The reason why things are romanticized and glamorized often, and why Ryan Murphy does the things the way that he does possibly, is because he wants people to connect to it. Look at the way in which people are romanticizing and glamorizing Diddy. They're attaching certain conspiracies to him because they allow everyone to feel connected to the situation. This is not to say that Diddy wasn't doing anything, or that there isn't higher-ups, there isn't things going on behind the scenes. What I'm saying is everybody is able to feel attached to it, connected to the history. They're able to feel a sense of grandeur if they can do that, romanticize it and glamorize. That's why Ryan Murphy possibly does what he does, is because it allows everyone to connect. If you have someone like Evan Peters, who is light across the board, playing Dahmer, more people connect to it, if that makes sense. Going back to Sam Little. The reason why I believe Sam Little should be a subject of a monster series, a monster season, Sam Little might be the perfect example of how flawed the system can often be. If he does this, if he does it a certain way, black people may dislike it, black people may feel a certain way about it, because there's often been the idea that black people don't do this. Being serials is not something that black people do. It could also perpetuate the idea of the super predator, or the black super predator, or the usual suspect idea. But Sam Little was something different. I hate to say it, but he was almost an anomaly. It's like there's no way he should have been able to get away with the things that he got away with. but he was also seemingly taking advantage of a system. The fact that someone was able to unalive 93 people, if not more, and they were arrested 26 times in 8 or 9 year span, and they were arrested probably almost 40 times throughout their entire life, is insane. If we look at Dahmer and we look at Little, these are people who had no means, they had little resources, they had no power, but they were able to accomplish terrible things. Imagine what the people in power are able to accomplish. And I know that goes back into the idea of glamorizing the conspiracy theories and everything like that I was just talking about. But at the same time, it's hard not to believe that there are people in power who can accomplish way more than Sam Little and Dahmer did with way less. Sam Little is considered the most prolific serial in American history. He's been attached to 60. There's a possibility that there's 93, if not more. Think about that. This man was arrested 26 times in the span of like 8 years, 5 years, something like that. He was arrested over 40 times in his entire lifetime. He didn't get truly caught until he was like up in age. And at that point, he probably wasn't even operating on a full level or on full capabilities. Think about how crazy that is. That's why I think it is important that we see this. The gruesome violence does not have to be glamorized and romanticized the way in which Ryan Murphy does it, but I think these stories should be told. There should be light shed on these stories. Documentaries appeal to people in a certain way, but seeing those TV shows, seeing those movies, it draws in something else. I'm hoping that we do get a Sam Little season of Monsters. We might not need to. People might not like it, but I'm actually hoping that's something that we do get. Because I think it's an important story. I think it is a story that highlights a lot of the flaws in the system. Do these shows offer a solution of how to fix a problem? Unfortunately, no. I don't know if there ever will be a way to solve this problem unless we go the Minority Report route. And even then, there's still flaws in that system. I'm going to continue to say this. I do think it is important to shine light on these stories. And as long as they speak to the relatives of the victims, if they get their consent, I know they won't, but hopefully they would attempt to get their consent. We can look at stories like Dahmer, like Gacy, like the Menendez, like Little, and say, how did this happen? We see how it happened. We see someone who was able to basically to get away with it several times because the system was flawed. And maybe they were looking at the wrong things throughout this entire thing. There's been documentaries, people have had documentaries on him. I'd be interested to see how a lot of crime experts now in this day and age look at what happened with Little and how he was able to do a lot of what he did. It's somewhat mind-blowing. The reason why to me it's so mind-blowing is because of how many times he was arrested, that he was able to do this. And I know for him, it had to feel like, I hate to say this, and I know this is a little insensitive, it had to feel like an accomplishment. Especially, look at how he was when he was in jail. The fact that he was drawing pictures of these people, these could be just the ramblings of a crazy old man. He was connected to 60. Possibly 93. And they said he was drawing all of them. He drew all of them. Think about how crazy that comes across. There's conversations about the status, the socio-economic status of the people that he was targeting. Same way there is in the Dahmer story. The cultural status. There's conversations around that. Sam Little is a very interesting case. To me, he might be one of the most interesting cases because of what he did and how he did it for how long he did it. Another thing that makes it scarier is he is the known. So imagine the unknown. And this is conspiracy, this is alleged, all this other stuff. Imagine the unknown, the person who has completely been able to fly under the radar and to get away with all this stuff. Imagine what they're operating on and how they're operating. Just, to me, it's terrifying. It is a terrifying idea. Who knows? What do you think? Do you think that these kind of stories are necessary, or do we say, you know what, it's too much, we don't need these kind of stories, we don't need this kind of darkness, let's get rid of it? I personally think that Sam Little is a story that should be told. It is a warning of the flawed systems. Please feel free to comment and let me know what your thoughts are. I would love to hear them. If you like this video, please feel free to check out more videos on my channel. I really do appreciate it. Thank you again so much for your time. That is what I appreciate most. Hope you continue to be good. Hope you continue to be blessed.